Hello and welcome to the Inspiring Women Wales podcast brought to you by NatWest Cymru and the University of South Wales. I'm Gemma Casey, NatWest Cymru's Ecosystem Manager for Wales. How do you find the funding to start and grow a business? Where are the support networks and communities you need to encourage you to take the next step? And where are the women with lives just like yours who have succeeded in setting up their own enterprises? We know that these are some of the most common hurdles that women come up against when they think about starting a business. With this podcast, we're bringing you the stories of brilliant female founders of Welsh businesses who have faced these challenges and more. We aim to bring you stories you can relate to, stories to inspire you and give you the confidence to move forward with your business dreams. With me for this episode is Cherie Arlett, founder and fashion director of SheCan Closet, and radio presenter on Radio Cardiff. Hi, Cherie.
Hello, Gemma. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
I'm great, thank you, Cherie. You know, it's an absolute pleasure. So tell me a little bit about SheCan Closet. What is it?
Well, SheCan Closet is an empowering clothing line with a powerful message, which is she can, she did, she conquered. It's award-winning. I won Best Female-Led Online Retailer within a year of starting up. And the brand message focuses on empowering women through my story and through different various ways of fashion.
Amazing. So empowerment is a really big part of that then. Where does that drive come from in you, Cherie, to want to empower other women? And how do you go about doing it?
Me wanting to empower women came from my own obstacles and my own struggles. The background story of why I started SheCan Closet, it was from nothing. You may know it has been documented on the media, South Wales Echo and Wales Online, that when I first started the business, I had fled a domestic violence relationship. And I had to start my life all over again with no job, no home. So I was literally building my life again at age 36. Wow. And I managed to do it. I managed to actually start building a business on a full-time basis. So I knew that I had to carry that story through the brand. So that's where the empowerment aspect comes from. And also I've been in the modelling industry, entertainment industry for a long time. So I've been witness to the misogyny within those industries and how male-led they are. So I've always wanted to take some control of that and take the lead and empower women in those industries. So that was something I feel that was always going to happen with any business that I started. It was always going to be focused on empowering in some way or another.
Amazing. What an amazing story and journey. So SheCan Closet then is a website where you sell clothes in a way that empowers women to feel confident about themselves. But you've also got a pop-up shop, I think, haven't you?
Yes, I just opened the new pop-up shop in Barry Town Centre last week, and it was amazing. It was such a really good day. And my goal for the pop-up shop is more than just coming in and clothes shopping. I've wanted to create a hub for local women to feel empowered, to make new friends, to just somewhere to be free, to be themselves. And we haven't been there long, a week, as I said, and it's really made a difference with some women's lives, especially single mums there's not much going on in the town centre, and especially based around empowering women to do what they want to do, whatever that is. So it's been really heartwarming to speak to the local women around there and have them in the pop-up shop. And hopefully that's something that we can keep continuing in the future.
Fantastic. Let's talk about empowerment around business now. So you're empowering your consumers, and that's your raison d'etre and the reason you've set up this brand. When you were looking to set up the business, how were you empowered and what inspired you to really follow your dreams? And is there enough out there to empower women to take that leap into self-employment?
That's the thing. Myself personally, I don't think there is enough out there to empower women. And this is why I feel that a business like mine is so important. Once you empower women, you make the world a better place. We're more productive. It's a fact. We're really good with money when we take the risk. A business like mine, even though it's around fashion and there'll be women out there that don't want to create businesses focused on fashion, my knowledge through the different types of sectors and the obstacles helps me give the advice on whatever sector they're going through, whatever they want to go into. My empowerment, it comes from always wanting to build an empire, and especially for my children.
Mm-hmm.
And going through what I went through and finding myself having to build a life all over again. It was either, go for it full time with a business because I've got nothing else to lose. What am I going to lose now? That was the time to do it. And if I didn't go for it then, I honestly don't know how my life would have turned out because obviously I was in a really bad place and that was my focus. Starting a business, doing it myself helped empower me and get me out of that situation. But there wasn't one particular person. So this is why I wanted to be that person because there was no one I could look to who was from my place or my position. And yeah, I can do that, It didn't seem in my reach, but I was going to try. And if I succeeded, I wanted to become that voice or that advisor or inspirer for women like me.
That's amazing, Cherie. That is really inspiring. You went through the University of South Wales's Developing Entrepreneurial Programme, didn't you? Which was funded with a grant from NatWest Cymru.
I did, yeah.
How did you find that? I mean, when I've talked to other people who've been on the programme and the people that delivered content there as well, the message that comes over loud and clear is that there was a fantastic community spirit. What was it that stood out from that programme for you?
Absolutely. What stood out for me is that it was a hub of women that were just like me, starting in the same position as me, had, go in it alone and don't know where to go first. And I first come across the program as I just started out. I was, I think, 2 months into it. So all the women I was speaking to on the program were in the same position. And so that to me was really intriguing. I was like, yeah, this is probably going to be great for me because we can all relate to each other. We can relate to our family situations as well. So it wasn't just business. We could also relate to our home lives and things that we're finding it difficult with, like motherhood or juggling a job with trying to get your business off the ground. And these women, we were all alike, It wasn't they're way up there and you're here just trying to catch up, which it seems a lot of in business. And there's a lot of gurus saying, I've done this, but they seem so up there. It's like, but I need somebody who's there on the ground, navigating it, and also with some support. And that's what this program was. It was brilliant for me. The masterclasses really helped me understand more about the social media side of things, even though I felt that I was good at it anyway. There's just so much to it that you can learn. And we had masterclasses on that. We had masterclasses on accounting. It was everything for the steps to start your business. So that for me was helpful. And we're all still in our WhatsApp group now, chatting away and meeting up and collaborating with each other's businesses now. So it's needed. It was definitely needed, especially in Wales.
That's really interesting. Yeah. And you mentioned there the relatable role models, and you touched on earlier the fact that a lot of the role models out there maybe hadn't been in your position. You were really starting from scratch again, weren't you? how vital is it that women can see someone they can relate to?
It's up there on the list of priorities, because if you don't see yourself, if you're not represented, and that comes in all forms, how are you going to how can you see yourself doing that? You can't see somebody who represents you in that position. You're never going to think you can get there. And me being a Black woman as well, it was very important to me to represent Black women within the fashion industry in different ways, because we're not even represented equally when it comes to modeling, when it comes to being directors, designers. So I'm trying to make a change there. But women who want to get into fashion from disadvantaged areas or from, backgrounds like mine won't think they can do it unless they're seeing somebody like them doing it. So it's very, very important to have relatable role models in business, especially for women, and to have that inclusivity as well with all women. I feel like sisterhood in business is just important.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's how we work. And I just feel creating these communities within business is definitely needed, and relatable role models, even if they've been through that, but they don't necessarily want to touch on their story. I feel like having that out there so people can research and go, okay, well, they did, it's not their brand, not everyone's brand is based on their story. But if your background is out there instead of just what you're doing now, then that gives women some hope as well. We all start from somewhere, and we're not all born with silver spoons and endless funds to start empires, So there's definitely stories out there. They just need to be out there more.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly why we've started this podcast, is to tell those stories and try and put people like you who are truly inspirational out there to help other women in Wales. You mentioned funding there, and you said earlier that women are good with money if they will only take the risk. And NatWest research, the Rose Review carried out by our CEO, Alison Rose, 3 years ago now, found this was one of the major barriers to women starting and growing a business, is that generally women tend to be more risk averse when it comes to taking on debt, for instance. But also there just isn't the level of access to finance available for women. And that's something that we've worked hard in the last 3 years to try to improve. There is still work to be done, and that work continues.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about how you've funded this. I mean, you touched on the fact that you escaped from an abusive relationship and started again from nothing. How have you funded SheCan Closet, and how has that been for you?
Yeah, I'm self-funding my business. So yeah, I'd flee, I'd started life all over again with bad credit. So applying for loans and funding wasn't an option for me, but starting this business, I had to do. I didn't have a load of savings, nothing like that. I started the business with £150 on products, and I did everything else myself to get the business off the ground with no money, apart from that £100 for the business cards, few products, and to pay the initial website monthly installment at the time, because I was building it myself, built the website myself. So I was self-funding, but I was doing it in the cheapest way possible, i.e. with no money. And this is why I'm bringing out a Build Your Business on a Budget guide for free, to give those tips from what I did to build your business on a budget. So didn't pay for adverts. I kept my cost really low. Anything that I could learn to do myself, I did. And that's how I got the business off the ground. So it absolutely is possible, depending on what the business is and how much you initially need to, spend. But yeah, I've started the business with no funding. I think I had a tiny little bit of funding with Cadwyn Housing Association, and they helped with some of my flyers and some business cards and things like that. And I also went on the NEA program with Universal Credit, and they were giving, I think it was an extra £200 a month to go towards your business if it's a startup.
Which could make a difference.
That was
at
the
that
support
stage.
that I had to, well, it did, because I was able to get it off the ground with all the skills I was willing to learn as well to make that possible. But I would have loved, obviously, a big amount of money, and I'm still, building my credit up, and I'm still self-funding. Everything obviously goes back into the business. But my thing is there needs to be some type of scheme, funding, support for women to be able to reach those women from disadvantaged areas as well. Something that can support women who have got financial difficulties or who have credit issues, to be able to get them on that business ladder, some type of support. And I would love to speak to NatWest about that, because I just feel like it's so needed. It's so needed, because any bit of support that there is about women in disadvantaged areas, I feel it's really trickled down to them. And something like that would be able to definitely help some single mothers in areas like mine in Grangetown, things like that, that just they feel like, I can't start a business because I've got bad credit. There needs to be somewhere that go, even though you've got bad credit, if you've got a great idea, if you've started your business, if you can prove that you're doing everything right when it comes to your financial on the business side, we can help support you in some way to get you pushed out there. So I feel that's really needed when it comes to all the different business support that is out there for women. That's something that's vitally needed.
That's really interesting. Fantastic. Great thoughts there. You're a mum, and this isn't the first business you've started, is it? You've had businesses in the past. Talk to me a little bit about that, the work-life balance thing. I mean, that's hard whenever you're a working mum, but trying to start a business and grow a business as well with young children must be tough.
I found it very hard, and that's because I was living away from my hometown, so I didn't have that support network there. I was relying on childcare for my day job anyway. So obviously I'm trying to get a business off the ground. I've got 2 young children. I want to make sure I'm spending time with them as well. And it was always a struggle, because it was like, I don't want to spend the rest of my days working for someone else. I want to create this empire and something that I can pass on to my kids and my grandkids. But it's so difficult being on my own. I haven't got the money for the extra childcare to spend, working on the business. And also I'm feeling guilty because I want to spend that time with my children. So it was always a massive struggle for me. As I said, I was in the entertainment industry. So one of the first businesses I started was model agency and management. And that went into model management as well, which was called SheCan Management. And it's just, like I said, it just wasn't working for me, but I was not going to give up. I thought, that just because I can't do it now, what I need to do is just really plan on what I want to do and what I think will work when I get the opportunity, when the children are a bit older, maybe. So I was always working on different ideas, different businesses, what I feel that could really work for me. Obviously, the management stuff, I felt like I couldn't reach enough women to empower then, even though it was empowering women through the model side of things. It was, one woman at a time. I couldn't just reach a lot of women. And I thought, I need to believe in myself as well. That's what my business needs to be based on. is what I can do. So although it is around fashion, it is based around me and my story and how I can empower through different ways.
So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I get that, you know, when they were really small, that you tried, but there are so many obstacles. How old are they now?
19 and 15. So they're big boys now. But it's still a struggle because we were always very close with each other, you know. And obviously we've moved back to Cardiff. And then in the past 3 years, I've just been totally working hard on the business. And we haven't spent as much time together as we had previous years. So I still get mum guilt. You know, I still get that. It doesn't go away just because they're older. And it is always going to be a struggle, I think, when you're a single mum, especially, and everything's relying on you, you know, keeping a roof over your head, making sure everyone's fed, making sure the business is running, making sure your children are okay in school. It's a lot of things, as well as your personal issues and traumas. And so you have to take time out for yourself. That's one thing I make sure I do, away from being a mum, being a business owner, and just totally grounding myself. And even if it's just one day, if I've got deadlines, make sure I get them out the way. And then I make sure I've got a weekend at the end of the month or something. So that's important. And like I said, I know it's hard when you're a single mum and you haven't got that support network, but there may be women out there that have got a support network, and it may be easier for them to be able to build that business. So use whatever resources you have around you. If you've got family, friends, you know, that can support you whilst building your business, and you've got children that are in a great routine, go for it, you know, just keep going for it. That's what I would say.
And if someone's listening to this and they maybe are in the situation that you've been in the past, and they really can't see how it would work for them right now, but it is a passion and a dream, what would you say to them about keeping the dream alive?
Well, I have mentioned this before. If you feel like you're in the position where you absolutely can't, but it's something you've always wanted to do, one thing that I used to do was print out my business cards of whatever the business you're envisioning, put it down, put your title down. And even if you haven't got much money, you can get them for free and just pay postage if you haven't got the money to do that, you know. I think loads of companies do it now. Vistaprint are one of them. And then just post it on your mirror where you get ready in the morning, or on your fridge, in the bathroom, everywhere. So every day you're manifesting that, you're looking at it and you're saying, yeah, that's me. That's going to be me. May not be right now, but it's out there. One thing I did do was take a photo outside a property that I wanted to be my HQ, because I want to have a fashion and empowerment house, and I know I will be there. So I've taken a photo outside the door, and I'm going to put that in the foyer when I do end up having it next to the picture of me with the keys. So I totally believe that'll happen. Put it out there.
I absolutely love that, Cherie. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're out of time because this has been such a fabulous conversation. Thank you for listening, and huge thanks to my guest, Cherie Arlett, founder and fashion director of SheCan Closet and radio presenter on Radio Cardiff. If you'd like to hear further episodes of the Inspiring Women Wales podcast, then please subscribe. To find out more about this podcast and how University of South Wales Exchange can connect your organisation to the skills, expertise and facilities at the university, visit southwales.ac.uk/business. And for more on NatWest support for small business, search NatWest Business Services.